Hey, I'm out here right now inspecting a deck, and I wanted to take a minute and go over a couple of good guidelines for deck construction to ensure safety. Stay tuned. So decks come in all shapes and sizes, but we have basically two different types of decks. We have decks that are fastened directly to the house structure with a ledger board, like in this case, that's attached to the rim joist of the house. Or we can have what's called a floating deck, and just like its name suggests, the deck is freestanding or floating, and it's supported by its own post, usually down in concrete piers on the soil that are dug below frost depth. So when your deck is secured directly to the house, it becomes part of the house structure, and it's very important to make sure that it's well secured and that the ledger board is properly flashed with Z flashing, which is in the shape of a Z, just like its name suggests. So the fastener types that we like to see are called through bolts, which are carriage bolts that have a nut and washer on the other end to secure the ledger from the inside of the house, or lag screws that are a lot more substantial than your standard screw. We also like to see that our support posts for the deck are at minimum 4x4, and depending on the height, for elevated decks, we like to see 6x6. So these 4x4 posts like we have over here are actually 3.5 by 3.5 inches. A 6x6 post is 5.5 by 5.5, but it's quite a bit more substantial. And then near the top of elevated decks, we like to see sway bracing, which is diagonal bracing, where we're connecting our diagonal support post to the rim joist of the deck to help prevent any swaying motion, especially from wind. We also like to see that the joists are fastened with joist hangers like we have here. Now sometimes we'll see we have another beam out toward the end of the deck, and the joists are hanging a little over that beam. That's called cantilever. So if our joists are cantilevered, the joist hangers aren't as crucial as if we didn't have that added support there. But it's still a good idea as a general rule to make sure that you're putting joist hangers on now when you're installing joist about anywhere. Then at the top of the deck, for safety, we like to see that you have a good guardrail. So a railing that has balusters, and the rule of thumb for your spacing of balusters is for you to not be able to pass a 4-inch sphere in between them. For an adult, your fist is a very good general measurement for that. So try and pass your fist through. If your fist easily passes between them with plenty of room to spare on either side, that's not a good thing. Mostly because we don't want kids' heads or small pets getting trapped in between them. Some of you may have experienced that before with your own kids or when you were little. But if your hand will barely pass or it won't pass through, that's usually an indication that you're fine. And make sure that your railing is also high enough, especially with your deck being elevated. 36 inches is a good rule to follow there, so 3 feet off the deck boards, the floor of the deck. So those are some good tips on construction of your deck to make sure that it's safe and sound. And if you already have a deck, just take a quick peek over it, make sure that all those things are in place. And if you're looking at building one, hopefully this will help give you a good start.